System of variable mass. Mass is the quantity of the matter occupying some space. We all know that mass is calculated in kilograms in the SI system, and the equations of motion, which are derived in kinematics, for example, V equals to U plus AT, and the energy of the particle, kinetic energy half mv squared, potential energy mgh. All these equations are derived considering that mass of the particle is constant. There is no change in the mass of the particle during its motion. But variable mass. This system is quite different from the constant mass system. For this variable mass system, the magnitude of the mass, amount of the mass, changes with respect to time. When it is in motion, with respect to time, after some time, mass of the system may be increased or decreased. In that case, the system is called variable mass system. And what's the example for variable mass system? And where can we observe such a type of system? So we can observe variable mass system in the case of a rocket motion. When rocket is moving up, initiating with an initial velocity, and after reaching some time, a part of the system is detached from the system and its mass is reduced. However, the gas jet, which is ejected out through the combustion of fuel through the nozzle tail of the rocket, also reduces its mass. So, this is an example, rocket system is the example for variable mass. And so we might have an idea about the motion of the rocket, that the rocket works on the principle of Newton's third law of motion. So we can apply the laws of motion for variable mass. And here we have two cases for variable mass. One is the mass which is added during its motion and the mass which is ejected out during the motion. Suppose the system is in motion and after some time its mass is increased by a very small amount dm. So the mass which is added or which is ejected is denoted by dm. What happens when mass is added? How it is considered? And if it is ejected out, so how can we consider that mass which is ejected out? We have to think that. So now we will consider the first case, mass which is added to the system. So a system is moving here. So the system, this is the system, and with mass m is the mass of the system, and this is in motion. So we will say the motion of the system is towards left to right. After some time, as an amount of the mass is added to the system, so an amount of the mass which is added to the system, it is here a small amount of the mass added to the system, and the system, this is the system, and system is moving in the same direction, and mass is added to the system, and this mass is denoted by here dm. And the system, it is m, and mass of the system is m, original mass. After adding the mass, the system will have more mass. So this is the mass of the system after adding the mass. So this will be m plus dm. As the mass is increased, so the mass which is getting in, which is added, entering into the system. Here the mass is entering into the system. We can see here. So this is the mass entering into the system. So this is considered as positive. So this is a positive mass. And the second case. So in the second case, mass is ejected out. An amount of the mass is ejected out from the system here. So this is the mass, original mass here, and which is moving in the direction towards positive x-axis with a velocity v, and mass of the original system is m. After some time, an amount of the mass is ejected out from the system. So this is the small mass which is ejected out from the system, and after ejecting out, this is the mass here. So when this mass is ejected out, and we have to give the direction of the mass which is ejected out. So this is the direction of the mass, and this is the direction of the system here. As this mass which is ejected out, it is traveling in opposite direction. So this is considered as negative. And the remaining mass. So this is the remaining mass here. So this remaining mass is m minus dm is the remaining mass which is moving towards the same direction as in the initial case. So here for variable mass system, if the mass is entering into the system, if the mass enters into the system, it is considered as positive. If the same mass, if it leaves the system, ejects out, it is considered as a negative. Anyhow, during the motion, the mass of the system is changed. This is the reason why it is called variable mass.